Today is the first of the battles of the rookies. It's the first of the battles of the super hyped rookies. I know Nika Mule's first game was against the Fever, but like Nika Mule was a second round pick. I know she was hyped, but she was a second round pick. It is picks 1v2 tonight. It is Caitlin Clark versus Cameron Brink. The Sparks against the Fever. And this one's going to be interesting because this is the worst team the Fever have played. The Storm, I thought they were going to beat the Storm because I didn't think Neko Wimike was going to play. But the Storm also have Jewel Lloyd. The Sparks are a decent team. Or they're not a great team. They beat the Mystics. They have a win, but like, look, beating the Mystics is not anything too crazy. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do because Cameron Brink is just, with the way Aliyah Boston's been playing, if they start to feed Boston, Cameron Brink might end this game with 8 blocks. She's either going to be a foul triple or end the game with 8 blocks. Like, it's one or the other if they start playing through Boston. If they start running the floor, playing through Clark, playing that fast pace, I can think they can, like, as mobile as Cameron Brink is, they can neutralize her defensive. Like, they can neutralize her on defense by just outrunning her. By just sprinting up and down and running. They can use the speed, they can use the break, but in the half court, the Fever are very, very reliant on playing inside out. Or that's the way Christy Sides wants to play, is inside out. And Cameron Brink is going to absolutely command that paint. Like, Aliyah Boston hasn't been like as strong as she is, she doesn't necessarily use the strength to the most in the most effective way. Like, she's finishing terribly around the basket. Last season led the league in field goal percentage. This season shooting like 30 in the low 30s. But Cameron Brink is going to likely nullify the threat of this current Aliyah Boston. Rookie year Aliyah Boston, I don't know. I could probably dominate against Cameron Brink, but like, this current version, unless things change, I think Aliyah Boston will be fine by the end of the year. I just don't think right now she's in good enough shape or has enough game sharpness or enough reps under her belt in the last 8 months to really like destroy Cameron Brink in the way that she might be able to do later on in the year. But this is where we see I think this is going to be one of those games where you see the true test of Caitlin Clark. Because she's facing a team that she's expected to beat. This is the first time in 6 games where anyone who knows anything about this league is thinking, the Fever are the better team here. And I'm telling you guys, the Fever are better than the Sparks. Not by that much. Honestly, not by that much. The Fever are better than the Sparks. They should win this game, especially with the way they've played the last 2 games. The Connecticut Suns are really good. The Seattle Storm are fine. And the Seattle Storm had their full team and they played pretty well. But now, this one's the big test. Because there's going to be as many eyes on this one as there was on any game other than Caitlin Clark's first game. Because, look, Cameron Brink, she's not the star to the level of Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. But you could argue she was the best rookie in the first week. I think the last 2 games of Clark and Reese have separated those. But if Cameron Brink comes out here today with 11 points, 7 rebounds, 5, 6, 7 blocks, and we're now starting to look and be like, okay, maybe this is a 3-way race for Rookie of the Year. I think the first week, Cameron Brink has shown that she's probably more not the most polished, but like her game translates straight away and doesn't have many flaws as far as her game is concerned, other than the fouling. But at the same time, like, Caitlin Clark has superstar potential and Angel Reese is just Angel Reese. So it's gonna be interesting, and this is gonna be again a test to see whether or not we jump the gun with the Caitlin Clark and Aliyah Boston probably shouldn't be on the floor that much with each other. Because I know Aliyah Boston only played 14 minutes the last day, but in those 14 minutes, she was minus 18. So she was terrible in those 14 minutes. She was absolutely terrible. She's been minus 10. Like the Seattle, or not Seattle Storm, the Indiana Fever have lost 2 or 3 games. 2 of the 5. They've lost by more than 10 points. She's been minus 10 plus in every single game. Even though only 2 of them have been by more than 10. I think her plus minus is worse than the team's overall plus minus, which is a bit concerning. But she's got an opportunity on a big stage to come back, especially because she's matching up. There's no bad bigs in this league, really. There really is not. So she's matching up with Cameron Brink. She's matching up with a rookie. She's matching up with someone that she probably has experience playing against, or being around. Obviously, considering that these college players are there for 4 years, they're well aware of how they play. And this has got to be her game to step up. Because if she has 2 or 3 more bad games, it's going to be a situation where it's like, okay, do they move on from Aliyah Boston? As well as that, this is a big game for Christie sides. Like, if they lose this game and go 0-6, regardless of the first 4 games, they had the toughest first 4 games. And then they had the Storm. So they had a tough 5 games. So I'm looking at the schedule now after this game. Their next game after this is the Aces, who they're not going to beat. So then suddenly it goes to 0-7. Or likely 0-7. They're then facing the Sparks again. They should win that game. Sparks at home. And then after that is the Storm again. The next night is the Sky, who are looking really good. Or next day is the Sky, who are looking really good. Or 2 days later. So you're like, they're playing so many games, and this could spiral quick. Like if they don't win tonight, they probably start the year 0-7. And like 0-7 very quickly becomes a 7-game losing streak very quickly becomes 10. And then it becomes hard to win. When you're in a situation where you are losing and your team is consistently losing, it becomes hard to win. 5-game slide, especially with who they've played and figuring things out with the 2 close losses, is fine as long as they are able to turn it around. But if they go and win tonight, even if they lose to the Aces, if they go and, I don't know, beat the Sparks twice and they beat the Storm at home, then they're going into the game against the Sky at 3-6. So different than going in like 0-9. And it's very, very different than that. And if they go and lose this one, they're 0-6. All the upward trajectory is probably going to just start tumbling down. They then face the Aces without confidence. They might get destroyed. But you just hope that they win this game. And if they lose this game, you really have to question Christie sides. Like, if whatever about the other games, like if they lose to the Sparks, like obviously with the way the playoffs are, they're not out of contention. If they lose to the Sparks, you're like, all right, you should probably start to question something. They'll need to change something. Whether it be the personnel or the coach, they need to do something to try to save this season, because 0-5 is not the end of the world. The team is not going to have a winning record. There's a reason why they had the number 1 overall pick. They are terrible. They were terrible last season. They were terrible the season before. They were terrible the season before that. The Indiana Fever are terrible. But it still doesn't excuse the fact that you can have that much talent and be terrible. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.